Another way of looking at the same thing is the little scaling the mountain thing that you were taught in grade school. This guy, okay? Some people visualize their storytelling this way, though really, as you become a better writer, the writers I've seen do it actually view it like this. Like that. And what this one kind of equates to is what we call the try-fail cycle model. A try-fail cycle is, you've got this monumental problem that we're trying to overcome, and we're going to try a number of times to overcome that. And each time we try, something is going to go wrong, usually outside of our own power, though sometimes it's because of our fatal flaw. It depends on what type of story you're writing. And then when that happens, our progress is set back. Things get worse, and we ramp up the tension to where we try again, and then again we fail. Progress is set back, and this sort of thing. And Mary once described this to me, this sort of method, as the way you say, okay, your character gets up in the morning, and then what? Well, and then something goes wrong. Do they solve it? And you ask yourself, you say, yes, they solve it, but, it's a yes, but, or no, and. It's the yes, but, no, and method. Yes, they solve it, but something even worse happens. No, they don't solve it, and it gets even worse. Very simple story writing structure, but it is something to keep in mind. A good writing exercise is to try writing a short story with the yes, no, and yes, but method, where you have your character get out and introduce a problem and then just keep escalating it. Everything they try, they got, what did she describe it? I mean, they got out of bed and slipped on the floor. Did they catch themselves? Yes, but, in doing so, they kicked the table and knocked off the $1,000 Ming vase or something like that. Or, no, they didn't, and when they fell, they hit their heads and saw stars and were now in deep pain and maybe dying. Something like this. And then you ask the next question and the next question. That's this method. Dave, when he taught his class, said that for his plot structures, he liked to have someone fail twice for everything they attempt before they finally succeed. I don't know how to spell success. There's like C's and S's in there, and I can never figure out how many of each one. You fail 2 times for every 1 time you succeed, and you also foreshadow 3 times before something becomes important. That's some of Dave's little rules. So you can kind of see that these are different ways of visualizing the same thing. This one is more elementary, but sometimes that's what you need for a story. Both of these are focused on keeping the tension high. You want things to escalate. This is a basic plotting methodology, is that things get worse. All right, you guys got these two? Because I'm going to throw another one at you.
Wait, foreshadow 3, what does that mean?
Foreshadow 3 times before an element becomes important. For instance, if a person's fantastic memory is going to be a plot point, you want to foreshadow or show them using their memory in interesting ways at least 3 times before you actually make it a plot point. That's Dave's rule of thumb. All right?
And what about fail 2 times? They fail 2 times before they succeed.
Before they succeed. At any given thing they attempt, they fail twice before they succeed. And once again, remember, oftentimes overlapping the character's fatal flaw with these fail points is a good way to go about it. You want to avoid making your character look hopeless. However, you'll notice that if you read Pat Rothfuss's writing, it feels a lot like he's doing something like this, because Quoth will manage some great success, but then his fatal flaw, which is his arrogance or his temper, will then cost him most of what he's achieved and land him in equally deep water for his next adventure. He does this in the second one, where he saves the Maharaja's life from the assassin that everyone thought was him, and then he goes and insults the Maharaja's new wife because She doesn't like the whatever they are, yeah, I don't even know how to say it. The gypsies. And he just goes off on her. And so, of course, instead of being lavished with wealth, his fatal flaw has meant that he's only gained a little bit. He now has a little bit of a patron, but this guy can't, in order to not offend his new wife, has to kind of kick Quoth out and say, okay, you've got to go solve this other problem for me and get out of here before she forces me to have you executed. And so fatal flaw is therefore costing him. It's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back in this sort of method. That's very much a yes, but sort of plotting structure, if you think about it. Yes, he succeeds, but he does something that then makes it go horribly wrong. And it's not always Quoth's fault.